Hey guys, so this is like 12:30 in the morning, and I'm with Daddy. Actually, while I'm at home, I told you that Daddy doesn't sleep until like 4 a.m. in the morning, and this is like past 12, and he's still not even feeling sleepy at all. Daddy, thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Proverbs 4 verse 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they have caused some to fall. Somebody say hallelujah.
This is why some rich people and corrupt government officials in Nigeria will do anything to keep us struggling. It is not just corruption, it's by design. In those countries where Nigerians japa to, every type of labor, including menial jobs such as plumbing, tailoring, hairdressing, must be paid the legally mandated minimum wage per hour. And that minimum wage isn't picked randomly. It's calculated based on the actual cost of living. This means that whether or not you went to school, as long as you provide value, and I will stress on this later, your time has a set price per hour, and if you work 40 hours per week, you'll be able to afford the basic minimum of food and shelter. But in Nigeria, there is no enforcement for fair wages. The government throws a random number as minimum wage without checking if it covers the actual cost of living. Worst, most employers do not even bother to follow it because nobody holds them accountable. And this isn't because someone is not doing their job. It is intentional. They need cheap labor to maintain their comfort. They need people to clean their homes, mow their lawns, drive them around for peanuts. So they keep people desperate enough to take anything just to survive. Now imagine if all skilled and non-critical jobs were paid a fair, livable wage. What would happen? People would accept being underpaid. The rich would hire fewer workers, not because they don't need them, but because paying them fairly would force them to rethink their excesses. Now before you assume this will mean fewer jobs, no, every skill is necessary. Carpenters, hairdressers, tailors, plumbers, society needs all the skills to run. But instead of workers being exploited, they will be properly compensated, ensuring everybody lives decently. This is what will start closing the gap between the rich and the poor. And this is why they don't want it to happen. So what needs to change? We must demand that minimum wage reflects real life expenses. If the government says 70,000 naira per month, amounting to 840,000 naira per year, is sufficient, then they must enforce regulations enforcing that, for example, rent for a standard 2-bedroom flat in a regular neighborhood does not exceed 210,000 naira. Since smart economists advise that your annual rent shouldn't exceed 3 months of your pay. 2, they must regulate school fees to another 20 or 30% of this annual income, or provide free decent education. Thirdly, 20 to 30% of this annual income should cover all feeding expenses. That means they need to regulate the prices of food in the market, so that even if we cannot save from the minimum wage, at least we're guaranteed of food, shelter, and education. However, while we fight for fairness of wages, we must also evolve. The truth is, money follows value. No matter how much we demand better wages, if we don't have and improve our skills to justify a higher pay, the economy will resist that change. So while we fight for fairness in wage, we must also level up. Whether you're a tailor, barber, hairdresser, upgrade your skill. The more valuable you are, the more your bargaining power, not just with employers but in the society. Even in developed countries, the people who rise above minimum wage are those with more skills or critical skills. So it's all about the value that you bring. At the end of the day, we owe it to ourselves to break out from this cycle, hold our leaders accountable, demand fair wages, and most importantly, invest in ourselves so we don't have to beg for survival. This is the bare minimum they owe us. So while they continue to fly in their private jets and yachts, we should at least get the dignity of living comfortably. After all, we didn't come to this life to escort anybody. We all have one life, and it's unfair that some of us feel like we only came to escort some people. We elected these people to represent us, not because they are superhumans, not because they are better than us, but because a society cannot exist without law and order. So it's high time they begin to do what we appointed them to do. Thank you.
30 days rant challenge. We are now ranters, Abi. Actually, I like talking online, but one thing I don't like talking about is Nigeria. Nigeria in distress. Nigeria is not a country to talk about, to write home about. You know how we say this is not something to write home about. Nigeria is not a country to write home about. But I love what this lady talked about. As much as we have a terrible government in Nigeria, that is the honest truth. It's not because of this 30 days challenge. Every Nigerian, whether you are home or abroad, wherever you are, every Nigerian know that Nigerians are passing through a lot. In fact, we are a lot. But God made it That's why somebody told me, that should be day before yesterday, that God is tired of Nigeria. Some people would misunderstand that, but I choose to see positivity in what he said, because God has blessed Nigerians. What has God not given us? No. What has God not given Nigerians? If you are God, will you save Nigeria? Nigeria has become so bad. A country that God blessed with so many resources, so many good things. Other people are tapping from our riches, and we are here suffering every day. From my childhood, we keep praying about Nigeria in distress. Till today, churches in Nigeria. And the painful part about it is that a lot of religions upon religions, Christians, Boku, everywhere. We today go church, still nothing is changing. How can you tell me that a country that is filled with so many religion, a country filled with so many resources, what don't we have, yet we are suffering? That is why I don't like talking about Nigeria. I don't want to say Nigeria is beyond repair, but I want to focus on what this lady said. Thank you for me, but she nailed it. See, we have a spoiled government, but you guys to help yourself. You guys to help yourself by investing in yourself. That's what I talk about every day. That is what I prefer to talk about. I don't get tired of telling people to invest in themselves. Invest in yourself. Get a skill. This is how you see. We are strong Nigerians. As much as we are pained with the way things are so costly, somebody like me, I do not know how to stay without egg. It is my favorite. I got egg this week. Crate of egg, 6.5. We all know. So as much as you're strong, as much as you are passing through, we're facing through this bad regime in Nigeria, please invest in yourself. Get a skill. This is how you can nail this. This is how you will navigate.